In this video, I'm going to teach you how to get smooth handheld footage. How's it going? My name is Jussi. I'm a filmmaker and this channel is all about videography tips and tutorials. So if you don't have a gimbal or can't afford to buy one yet, you might be wondering how on earth can I get smooth handheld footage? Well, don't worry, I'll show you a couple of easy ways how to get smooth camera movements handheld. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to get smooth handheld footage is to hold your camera properly like this, and then lock your elbows to your body like this and do most of the camera movement with your body, sort of like this. That way you'll be able to get rid of most of the camera shake. So almost every time when I'm filming B-roll, I like to use manual focus, especially when I'm doing these movements like this one. Because when you do the camera movement, it looks a lot better when you have the focus set to one point and then the focus follows your camera movement. And also one thing is that you want to do everything to avoid that manual focus hunting where the focus is just can't figure out where to focus, and that looks so ugly. So always, when possible, use manual focus. Also, using a wide-angle lens will help a lot when you're filming handheld, because the wider the focal length, the more it will hide those micro jitters that you get. I'm using the Sony a6500, so I like to use the Sony 10 to 18mm wide-angle lens with the 10mm focal length. But if you're using a full-frame camera like the Sony a7 III, then I recommend that you use something like the 16 to 35mm wide-angle lens. Another great way to create stable footage handheld is by using a neck strap. So what you do is you lock your elbows like this, and then you hold the neck strap tightly, which will create the third point of contact to your neck. And that will be a very easy way to create stable footage when you have 3 different points of contact. But if you don't have a neck strap, what you can do is you can create 3 different points of contact with a different way. And basically what you do is, again, you lock your elbows like this to your body, and then you just use the viewfinder to create the third point of contact like this. One thing that I like to do also is to shoot in 120 frames per second slow motion, because when I edit it on a 24 frames per second timeline, it means that I need to get only 1 second worth of stable usable footage, and when I edit it on a 24 frames per second timeline, it equals to 5 seconds of usable slow motion. So that makes it a lot easier for you to get those steady shots. And also when you use slow motion and you slow it down, it hides those micro jitters as well. One of my favorite things to do when I want to get stable footage is to use a lot of foreground, because when you use foreground, you need to do only a small amount of camera movement, and the foreground actually emphasizes the camera movement to make it look like there's a lot more camera movement than there actually is. And the closer you can get to the foreground, the more it emphasizes the camera movement. After filming your B-roll, if you think that your footage isn't stable enough yet, you can always add warp stabilizer in post-production in Premiere Pro. But remember to use only like 10 or 15% of warp stabilizer just to smooth out the footage a little bit. It won't work in every situation, and if your footage isn't somewhat stable to begin with, it totally won't work. But it's a good saver if you want to get a little bit more smooth footage. Okay, one thing that I almost forgot. If you've got a camera that has in-body image stabilization, make sure it's turned on. And even better, if you've got a lens that has stabilization built in, make sure that that's turned on as well. When you combine those two, it's so much easier to get stable footage handheld. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more, subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification so you won't miss any of my new videos. Also, I recommend that you watch this playlist over here if you want to learn more about handheld filmmaking. Thanks for watching and see you next week. Take care.